Most people don't realize that much of their unhappiness isn't caused by external circumstances, but by the relentless activity of their own minds. That voice in your head, the one that never seems to stop, shapes your experience before your day even begins. It reminds you of past mistakes, fills you with worry about the future, and critiques your every move. It's always there, persistent and exhausting. But here's the truth. That voice is in you. This realization can feel unsettling at first. We've been taught that our thoughts define us, that they shape our reality. Every self-help book tells us, change your thoughts, change your life. But what if the issue isn't the content of your thoughts? What if it's the non-stop talking itself? The mind's endless chatter isn't guidance, it's a prison. Not built with walls or bars, but with words, judgments, fears, complaints, and comparisons. Imagine a still, clear lake reflecting the sky. But the moment you toss a pebble into the water, ripples distort the reflection. The mind works the same way. Its constant movement prevents clarity, filling every moment with noise, leaving no space for true peace or joy. This is what spiritual teacher Eckhart Tolle refers to as the pain body, the accumulation of negative emotions and mental patterns we unknowingly carry. When you replay an argument, imagine worst-case scenarios or judge yourself. This pain body grows stronger, feeding on fear and doubt. It becomes a shadow self, so familiar, so convincing that you might mistake it for the real you. But if you are this voice, who is it that hears it? Pause for a moment. Who is listening? In the space between thoughts, something else exists, a quiet presence, always watching, unaffected by the mind's turbulence. In Hindu philosophy, this is called Atman, the eternal self. In Christian teachings, it's the still, small voice beneath the noise. Taoist wisdom calls it the way, flowing effortlessly without mental interference. The mind resists this truth because it thrives on its own noise. It swings between past and future, hope and despair, never resting in the now. That imbalance is why we suffer. Consider this. You're stuck in traffic. Your mind creates a story, how unfair it is, how much time is being wasted. Or maybe you scroll through social media and your mind fuels jealousy, convincing you that your life is lacking. But it's not the traffic or the social media posts causing your suffering. It's the thoughts about them. A Course in Miracles states, nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. Your thoughts about the world are not the world itself. They are shadows on the cave wall, as Plato described. You cannot see the light when you're fixated on shadows. Here's the secret. The moment you stop engaging with the voice in your head, even for an instant, something shifts. You taste freedom. You step out of the prison of mental chatter into vast, open awareness. This isn't about forcing your mind to be quiet. Fighting the voice only strengthens it. Instead, it's about noticing it without attachment. Instead of throwing more pebbles into the lake, you let the water settle on its own. Rumi said, silence is the language of God. All else is poor translation. When you stop being consumed by your inner dialogue, you don't experience emptiness. You experience fullness, a deep peace beyond words. At first, the voice in your head will fight back. You need me. How else will you plan, solve problems, or survive? But just as the sun doesn't need an alarm clock to rise, you don't need constant thinking to live. So, who are you beyond the voice? When the mind quiets, what remains? Imagine looking into a still, clear mirror. You see yourself exactly as you are. But what happens when the mirror is cracked? Your reflection becomes distorted, incomplete, misleading. This is what the voice in your head does to your sense of self. It tells you you're not enough, you need to prove yourself, you have to control everything, or it will fall apart. And because the voice is so persistent, you believe it. But who were you before you learned to listen to that voice? Think back to childhood, those moments when you were fully present, running through a field, drawing with crayons, laughing so hard it made your stomach hurt. Back then, you weren't narrating your life, you simply were. This is the state of being your true self longs to return to. Stillness, simplicity, presence. Buddhists call this sati, or mindfulness, awareness of the present moment without judgment. When the Buddha attained enlightenment, he didn't do so by debating his thoughts. He observed them, letting them pass like clouds in the sky. But in our modern world, silence feels impossible. The phone buzzes, emails flood in, distractions pile up. Even when you try to sit quietly, the inner voice grows louder. Stillness feels unattainable. But the busier your mind, the more desperately it craves silence. Lao Tzu asked, "Can you wait until your mud settles and the water is clear?" The more you chase clarity, the further it slips away. True stillness happens when you stop chasing and simply be. When you stop identifying with the voice, fear begins to dissolve. Fear needs storytelling. It survives on thoughts like, what if this happens? Or I can't handle that. But in the silence of the present moment, fear has nowhere to take root. Imagine a bird perched on a branch. The bird doesn't worry about whether the branch will break. It simply trusts that if it does, it can fly. The same is true for you. When you let go of mental noise, you tap into something deeper, trust. Not in external certainty, but in your ability to meet life as it comes. This is what the sages meant by surrender, not giving up, but letting go of the illusion of control. The Tao Te Ching says, "We shape clay into a pot, but it is the emptiness inside that holds whatever we want." The void is not nothingness, it is potential. Once you see through the illusion of thought, the real journey begins. You don't have to fix yourself, because at your core, you were never broken. But as awareness grows, you naturally align more with the truth of who you are. Living this shift means practicing mindfulness, not as a task, but as a way of being. Drinking tea, feeling the warmth of the cup, the taste, the aroma. Watching a sunset, not thinking this is beautiful, but simply experiencing its beauty. It means stepping into service, seeing others with clarity, rather than through the lens of your own mental stories. It means trusting the unknown, realizing that life unfolds perfectly, even when the mind doesn't understand how. The voice in your head will still appear, but now you recognize it as background noise, not reality. The Zen master, Shunryu Suzuki, said, "You are perfect just as you are, and you could use a little improvement." The paradox is that you don't have to change. Yet as you live in awareness, you naturally transform. One day, you'll look back and realize the shift didn't happen all at once. It unfolded moment by moment, each time you chose to step out of thought and into presence. This is the ultimate freedom. Not freedom from life's challenges, but freedom within them. You're no longer trapped behind the glass of thought. You're fully engaged, fully alive, because you are the shift. You are the stillness beneath the noise. And when you live from this truth, life stops feeling like something happening to you and becomes something flowing through you. Welcome home.